And that's another problem because you don't feel like you're strong enough. You don't believe in yourself enough. You've allowed them to take that away from you. You've allowed the media and the toxic media and all the garbage. You've allowed them to take away your power. You've allowed them to take away your strength. Your power and your strength is in here because it manifests in everything that you do. If you are weak, if you've allowed them to make you weak, you will be weak in thinking and you will be weak in everything. Because you'll think that you're not capable. You'll think that you're not worthy. And that is what they've done right now. They put fear into you. They put fear into you to make you think that you're going to catch a virus by hugging your All right, folks, listen, here's the deal, all right? And I've thought long and hard about this over the years, and I've written things down, but it has become massively evident. Massively evident. I mean, like crystal clear right now. Do you realize that you're lying to yourself? We all do it. Do you realize how much power you have inside of you? Do you understand that you can change anything in your life? I think back to 1988 and why God gave me the message, Unlimited Changes, why he put that so deeply in my brain for just a time as this. You know, so many years ago, 1988, I was given the name Unlimited Changes. Why? Because you are capable of unlimited changes. But here's the hang up. You allow negative crap, bullshit to enter your brain. And then you allow that stuff to fester. You allow it to continue. I know you do. You know why? Because I did it as well. You got to feed your brain like you feed your body. If you're feeding your brain toxic crap, information, even if it's just a little a day, it's going to add up and it's going to break your mental processing down. If you are feeding your brain good information, you're reading books, you're being positive, you're studying the Bible, you're praying, you're opening up the conduit to God, however you see God, but if you are opening that conduit and you are putting fresh, wholesome knowledge and wisdom into your brain, that's going to proliferate. It's like a garden, folks. It's like a garden. Are you going to go take toxic seed and throw them in the soil and then water them every day? I mean, so here's the issue. First of all, you get rid of the toxic bullshit, or when it comes in there, because it's going to come in, you snap it off right there. When you take a root, okay, listen, I have a garden out there, and you all should have a garden. An organic garden. When there's weeds that come up, and God talks about this in the Bible, he talks about the weeds coming up and choking out and everything. You just read it. Throwing it on rocky soil, read it. You reap what you sow. So if there's weeds in there, and I'm not going to spray chemicals on the weeds, and I'm also not going to just pop off the head of the weed. I'm going to reach deep and I'm going to rip the sucker from the root, and I'm going to get it out of there. And that's what you got to do with the toxic weeds in your brain, in your mind, in your thought process. Now, here's the problem too. The media, we all have relied too much on the media. We've relied too much on our phone. We've relied too much on the bullcrap on television. We've relied too much on Disney and kids stuff. And what they've done is they've indoctrinated. We've relied too much on schools. We've relied way too much on doctors. We have not relied on our own God-given, God-right ability to discern. Be discerning. You are to look at information and things that are told to you, and you are then to research them and discern them. You are to rip them apart. You are to try to find flaws. And then you have to try to overcome those flaws or see if they're right or if they're wrong. But what we've done as a society and as people, individuals, we've just gone along with the flow. We've allowed people to tell us what is. Like as if they're smarter than us, they're better than us, they're more educated than us, they're more aware than us, they're more discerning than us. That's a bunch of crap. And that is toxic weeds that you're feeding your mind and you're not ripping out from the root. I don't believe that I'm smarter than anybody. I don't believe I'm better than anybody. I don't believe that have more wisdom than anybody. I don't believe that. But what I believe is I go to the Word of God and I go to sources whenever I'm trying to figure something out, and I deeply study it until I'm confirmed. And you know when this happened? And here's why this all comes full circle. I thought I knew everything, and I was listening to the media. I was listening to the propaganda about supplements. It all started for me with supplementation. And I never took a drug, so I never took a steroid, but I ended up freaking sick, deadly sick. At 39, 40 years old, I felt like I was on my deathbed. Hell with the coronavirus. I mean, I was sick, man. I was pooping blood, and I didn't know what was going on. And doctors were doing test after test. And you know what they prescribed to me? Painkillers. You know what else they prescribed to me? What do you call that? Depression stuff. They wanted me to go on stuff for depression. They said that this was all in my head. I was physically sick, but basically, okay, so that's where it all started. I was not going to go on drugs. I'm a recovering alcoholic. I went on painkillers. It brought me right down to the pit. I was in the belly of the beast. I was drinking booze and washing down Percocets with the booze. After being sober for 6 years, I was in the belly of the beast. I said, no more. I can't do this. I was dying. So I turned from it, and I said, no more. And I started to research, and I found companies that had organic products, and I thought, well, maybe it's in the it has to be in the nutrition, it has to be in what I'm feeding myself and so forth. And I stepped away from supplements, and then I started looking at the supplements. I started looking at what I was taking. I started looking at the stuff that's in there, the poisons that were in there. But yet, the person is holding it, and they look so great. They're in such great condition. They look like I want to look. They seem to have the life that I want to have, driving their Ferrari and having their fancy house and beautiful cars and beautiful women. And wait. That's what I want. Well, guess what? That's not how you get that crap. How you get that crap is by selling crap to people and making them think that stuff works. Then you make the money from that, and those people go down the pit like I was. So I said, whoa, wait a second. There's a mixed message here somehow. I went off all, so that's where it started. And just about that time, folks, get ready for this. Get your popcorn out, because now I'm going to blow. I didn't have children until late in life. I was married at 27, and I was a prideful prick. And I ended up divorced at 30, which was rightly so. God bless her. Congratulations, Sarah. She made a wonderful life for herself. She should have left me, and she did. Smart. And then I went into a period of where I found the Lord, and I was trying to walk the right way. And I was getting a little smarter, but I still was prideful. And I saw Matt on here. Matt, you could probably attest to that, brother. I'm sorry. I love you, man. You are awesome, and you did the right thing by leaving me as well. Michael, too, if Michael's on here. So I went through a period of discovery, but then I got sick, okay? So I'm going to leave a lot of crap out so this doesn't go too long. But then I got sick, and then I started getting healthy. I got away from all supplementation. I got away from all bad foods. I got away from all GMO. I got organic. And then all of a sudden, now I'm starting to think better. Now I'm starting to I'm starting to see things in a way different way. Then I dug into the Bible deeper. I didn't read it on the surface level, have a couple apps on my phone and say, okay, I'll read three little scriptures and I'll say a prayer, thank you God, blah, 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 and then walk away. Or my food will come and I'll say, bless the Lord for these gifts, thanks, okay, salute, okay, boom. No, I didn't do that anymore. Now I started actually having gratitude. Now I actually started to feel gratitude. It was amazing. Okay, now, that was my little transformation. So what, right? You say, so what, Mike? Okay, so what? So here's what. I didn't have kids till late. I found my wife. I found my beautiful wife, or actually she found me, or God put us together, however you want to view it. On the 50th birthday of my high school wrestling coach, crazy, it was whatever. And my wife actually taught at the school that I left 10 years earlier, and she had my desk. She was in the office that I was in. She had my desk. That's great, right? Coincidences? There's no such thing. So I meet my wife at this party for my coach, Rick Thompson. Thanks, Coach. Awesome. And it was his 50th birthday surprise party at Flynn's. Hey, Flynn's. Thanks, buddy. So in any case, we get together. We start dating, and we get married. 2 years later, I had my first child. Now, I was 37 years old when I had my first kid. Everything was great, no problem. She was great, no problem. We did everything the doctor said. We had all the vaccinations, as was said. But I wasn't eating really well at that time. Now we didn't have all the vaccinations actually. There was she had some issues, and so we stopped vaccinating, and then we went for a religious exemption. So she turned out fine, right? But now that was back in 2007. So then I have my second child, and he's born cesarean, and he gets every vaccination because they say now, because he was born cesarean, there's more issues that go along with that. So they were pumping him full, and we were just taking the doctor's advice. Listen, just like I told you in the beginning, we don't think for ourselves. We don't think for ourselves, and we don't fight back. We just take whatever they're telling us. We say, oh, a doctor, you went to doctor school, so you must know what you're talking about. Not every doctor. Listen, I don't think every doctor's bad. I don't think they're bad at all. I don't think they're bad people. But I think that they're learning from the Rothschild Institute of Technology, basically, which owns all the hospitals, and they're learning information that is based on vaccinations and based on medicine rather than on how the body can heal itself and how nutrition can help that along. So, my boy is fine until he's 3 years old. Up until 3, this kid was amazing. He's still amazing. He's still amazing. I'm not talking bad about my kid. I love my kid exactly the way he is, and he's amazing. But I'm going to tell you something. So, by 3 years old, he's fine. He's running around. This kid is throwing a ball right hand and left hand. Perfect spirals with a football at 3, actually 2.5. Yeah, right. I'm not kidding you. It was ridiculous. His balance was incredible. I would have him. He was a little kid, 2.5. He would stand on one foot and he would jump in the air and land on the foot and stay in place. It was crazy. Anybody who was at my facility back then when he was 2.5. We were all amazed. We were amazed how this little boy had so much, basically, physical attribute. So then we take him in for, I believe it was the MMR vaccine. Didn't think anything of it. He gets sick afterward and all, but we again, it wasn't documented. We didn't think anything of it. We moved to Florida, and then we ended up moving back. Now down here, we noticed that his balance was starting to go, but we just attributed that to, he's growing, he's just growing and so forth. So we were down here a year and a half. We go back up north, and he's 5, and he's like, he's all disoriented. He doesn't look at the camera. Anytime you say his name, he looks all the way, looks up into outer space, and you can't look me in the eyes, look me in the eyes, look me in the eyes, and he'd go like this. And we didn't know what the hell was going on. And then he ended up going for another vaccine. Fast forward, we saw a lot of decay. And then he entered school, and he had massive problems. They have a chart. You come in at green, and you can go up to like pink and up to blue and whatever. Or you can go down to yellow, and you can go down to red, and then you can go down to go home. And he was at go home just about every day. I mean, he was at yellow and red, like within the first hour of school. He was hiding under desks. Teacher was trying to get his paper. He'd rip it up, and he'd crawl under the desk, scream and holler. He would throw things. It was crazy. And again, he's just a bad little boy. No, he wasn't a bad little boy. This kid was toxically poisoned, okay? And we found that out because then we started going to school psychologists. School psychologists really can't figure this out, but they're thinking, well, you know what, Asperger's. Well, they don't call it Asperger's anymore. They call it spectrum. So basically, boom, we went to 3 independent child psychologists, and they all gave him the same diagnosis, okay, on the spectrum. And they couldn't even put it where it was because his stuff was so different. Like he did some of this, some stemming, he'd sing a lot, he'd act out little things and all, but kids do that. But anyway, he was diagnosed by these intelligent, medically certified doctors, but also, scientists, child psychologists. So he's on the spectrum. But he's amazing in many ways. He's amazing, incredible, amazing. But this all goes back to that. Now, we've found some things that actually help him. We took out gluten. Gluten out of his diet, totally different. We give him a couple organic superfood supplements that are phenomenal. He eats organic. He's basically, you wouldn't know it if you didn't wake up with him. I wake up with him in the house, and he's doing, and then we have to get him on track, and it takes a little while. It takes about an hour to get his food in him the right way, and all of a sudden, boom, then this kid is amazing. And but we've learned to deal with that. But there's where the problem. Okay, so now, folks, Here's the situation that, okay, I went in a lot of different directions. And then, of course, my youngest, we didn't figure this out until she was born, 2.5 years after him. And we didn't figure out his diagnosis until he was 5. So she was already 3. And guess what? She's also diagnosed because she had her vaccinations up to that point. But now my kids have not had any vaccinations since 3 years old. And for Luke, since 4.5. And guess what? They don't get sick. They don't get sick. I mean, they get a little stuffy nose here and there. They get a little bit of, ear infection once in a while because of swimming in the pool. We swim a lot, living down here in Florida. But they don't get, all their friends are sick and getting sent home from school. Every now and then, Abigail, because she's allergic to dairy, she might get a little bit because, it clumps her up, and then she'll have a nose and an ear and an eye and this and that. But until she was 3 years old, she was at the doctor every week for an ear infection, eye infection, or nose infection. And she's the one that I had to resuscitate when she was 13 months old. Yes, that's right, folks. I had to resuscitate a football-sized baby, my own, at 13 months old. And guess what? It was 1 day after a vaccination. That's how we found all this stuff out. And then she had another seizure. We moved down here, had a totally different doctor. Had a vaccination. 2 days later, another ride in the ambulance to the hospital, another resuscitation. I'm not making this crap up. I'm just trying to give you awareness. So to go back to my first point, and then I'm going to end this is stop lying to yourself by letting others lie to you. Investigate. Read a book. Investigate the information. Don't call people conspiracy theorists like I used to call. Don't call people liars like I used to call. Because I just didn't want, because I wanted to be too prideful, and I wanted to believe that, hey, I'm gonna do what everybody else does. Let's go with the flow, man. No, that ain't the right way to go, because you go with the flow, you're gonna go right down the pit like I did. So I had my awareness, and it ties all the way back into what we're dealing with right now. I'm going out there, I'm stepping out on a limb and telling people information that I have researched in the Bible, that I have felt the Holy Spirit speak to my heart and say, listen, you got to go out and tell these people this information that I'm providing you. And I'm getting all kinds of hatred. I'm getting some love, but I can't believe, but I look at these people that are saying that I'm nuts or that this and that. I'm like, what are you not seeing? Why aren't you reading the information? Why aren't you looking at what's going on? Why aren't you understanding that these so-called people that are media outlets and resources, they can feed you anything that they want. And you, like a sheep, can just sit there, bah, bah, and go with the flow. Or you can wake up and you can educate yourself. And you can stop calling other people names and stop thinking badly about somebody else who has a different opinion or view than you. And you can maybe say, let me take a look at what they looked at. Let me wake up and let me do some meditative thinking. Let me do some prayer. Let me do some breathing and allowing my body, my electromagnetic body, wake up a little bit, and so that I can think. And if you do that, you might actually come up with some really, really good information that probably varies a great deal from what you're hearing on the television or your phone. Anyway, I'm going to come to you with a very, very, very important message about what's going on right now. I see a lot of people dropped off. That's a shame. That's a shame that they dropped off. But you know what? It goes to my point. It goes to my point how people don't want to listen to truth. You bring up the Word of God, you bring up Jesus Christ, you bring up the Bible, and people start dropping off because they've indoctrinated you. The other side has indoctrinated you. They have gotten into your brain. They have put weeds in there that you have not ripped out. I'm not telling you how to think. I'm not telling you that you have to have the same beliefs I do. I'm telling you got to read the book. That's what I'm telling you. I'm not telling you that you have to believe in anything. I'm telling you, you got to take some time to read the Bible. That's what I'm telling you. I'm not telling you, well, Mike, we don't all have to have the same views as you. Again, right there, right down the same road of believing the nonsense. Hey, if you're so willing to believe poisonous things, if you're so willing to put toxins in your brain, then why aren't you willing to put a little bit of positivity in your brain? Where should I start? I'll tell you what, you start with Proverbs. Start with Proverbs. Just go to the middle, almost the middle of the Bible, and read Proverbs. That's all. It's all about wisdom. It's all about daily wisdom. You know what? There's 31 Proverbs. One for every day. Read them all, though. Read them all. Read them all every day. And you might actually come up with some different type of thinking. It'd be really interesting. And then get back to me and let me know if that helped you. Make sure you share this around. I tell people to share. I tell people to like my video. I didn't used to do that. I tell people to follow me on YouTube and follow me on Facebook. And you know what? They still don't. They come in here as voyeurs. They come and they listen to my stuff and they say, well, he's got some good points. And then they don't do anything. And that's another problem because you don't feel like you're strong enough. You don't believe in yourself enough. You've allowed them to take that away from you. You've allowed the media and the toxic media and all the garbage. You've allowed them to take away your power. You've allowed them to take away your strength. Your power and your strength is in here because it manifests in everything that you do. If you are weak, if you've allowed them to make you weak, you will be weak in thinking and you will be weak in everything. Because you'll think that you're not capable. You'll think that you're not worthy. And that is what they've done right now. They put fear into you. They put fear into you to make you think that you're going to catch a virus by hugging your wife. It's a bunch of crap, folks. This is all 5G. This is all 5, and this is the message I'm going to give you later. So make sure you put on your notifications. I've told you that a million times. Put them on. What's the difference? If you don't want to listen to me, turn me the hell off. But if you want a little bit of knowledge, you want a little bit of wisdom, you want a little bit of growth, mind growth, put on your notifications and let's talk. Call me up. If you don't have my number, message me. Let's talk. I'll give you the information I've got. It's not a bunch of malarkey. I didn't make this stuff up. I dug for it. I've been off of work too. I'm a school teacher. I've been out here doing the thing. And plus I own a business that's shut down right now. So all I'm doing is researching. I'm not looking at social media and I say, oh my gosh, the world is falling. I'm saying, this don't seem right. This don't add up. And so if it doesn't add up, see, if 2 + 2 doesn't equal 4, well, then you got a problem. So research. But you know where I research first? I go to the black book. Mine happens to be black. And it's spelled Bible. So again, go back and look at this whole video. Go back and look at it. Whether you trust, whether you are a believer, a follower or not, you cannot deny the wisdom that is in the Bible. So go look at it. And then just start with Proverbs. That'll be easier for you. But don't let them take away your power. Don't let them put fear in you. You know what fear is? Fear is the absence of faith. Fear is the absence of belief. 365 times Jesus said in the Bible. 365 times. One for every day of the year. One for every problem of every day that you got. And you know what he said? Either this. Do not fear. Be not afraid. Or fear not. All the same thing. 365 times. You got nothing to fear. Who was it? Roosevelt who said, we have nothing to fear but fear itself? But you are allowing them to put fear in you. Thereby you're making bad decisions. They're planting a dirty root in there. That root is cultivating and you're not ripping it out. Get out of fear. Get in power. Get in your own power. And that's how you'll change your body. That's how you'll change your finances. That's how you'll change your life. Because again, going back to my sickness, I thank God for my sickness. Because from that point, I started to educate myself. I pulled the weeds out. And when I started to educate myself, I started to see how I was twisted. I was twisted because I was a sponsored athlete and they told me this stuff was going to be good for me. So I believed them and I trusted them and I didn't do my research and it made me sick and nearly dead. So just, man, I love you people. Grab your power back. Get out of fear. Investigate. You can live the life that you want. I can't tell you, I'll be 50 years old in May. I got sick at 39. So it's been 10 and a half years. And I went down to the belly of the beast. I lost everything. Lost 2 training centers, lost three houses really, because I had an investment house. So two and a half houses. Went bankrupt. Everything was taken away. Lost 4 vehicles, because my wife, I had 3 and she had 1. Lost them all. Everything. Even had to cash in our IRAs and 401ks and everything. We had 0. Lived right down here, a few miles away. We lived in the extended stay hotel on Bill France Boulevard, $365 a week. And I was delivering newspapers so that I could pay for that. And my kids, because I had 3 at the time, a stepdaughter and two children at the time. Now I have 3 children of my own and a stepdaughter. But at the time, you know how we were eating? We were eating the crappiest garbage poison that we could get at Walmart, lunch meat and bread. And we were going down in the morning and taking our shirts like this and filling them up with Otis Spunkmeyer muffins. And that's what we would eat. We were destitute. And God raised me out of that pit. You know how he raised me out of that pit? By opening my mind, by cultivating, by trimming off the garbage, by ripping out the roots of my brain and educating me. And that's how we were able to solve the problem with my son. That's the way we were able to solve the problem with my daughter. That's the way we were able to solve our financial problems and our burdens. He ripped pride out of my head. And I'll tell you what, before every fall, before every sin, is pride. Look it up. It's in the good book. God bless you all. I love you all. Thanks for tuning in. Like it. Share it. Put your notifications on. Join my YouTube channel. I want to be connected with you. God bless you. Be a blessing. Be the change. And go help others.